Hey, what's up you guys? It's Lexi DIY and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are finishing off that tile wall in the laundry room, and I started by getting out my wet saw and I'm making some cuts for my edge pieces and my pieces to go around the outlets and different things like that. Now these are really small, so I had to be super careful, and when I'm able to, I'm also using my push guide that is plastic, so I'm not getting my fingers too close to the blade. But honestly, a wet saw is a lot easier to use than you think, so definitely don't be scared to give it a try, but just make sure that you're safe with it. And then I dried off all of the pieces. Now, as you guys know, I'm using a double-sided sticky tile tape instead of thin set in here. And I really should have done some more research, because I didn't realize that with the tiles that I have, I actually needed to wait 24 hours to put them on so that they would completely dry through, and I didn't know that. So the first time I put these tiles up, they actually started falling down and not sticking. Luckily, it didn't compromise the sticky part, but we did have to wait. And then some of them I just used my snap and score system. The cuts weren't as clean, but I was able to get things up a little bit more quickly instead of waiting those 24 hours. So then it was time to actually just finish off this part. Now, this part was a little difficult because, like I said in the last video, these tiles are handmade and they are all slightly different sizes. Now, the tricky part is I had stacked some slightly bigger ones, like a few slightly bigger ones in a few rows. So once I got to this corner, I was needing to find really small tiles, and I was digging through all of my tiles. And as you can see, I'm like flipping them around and making sure that they're actually gonna fit and be level with the top before I stick them, just to make sure that it doesn't look too wonky at the top. But I was so happy to finally get that finished. The tile's looking really good, and I am going to grout it, but once I grout, I'm pretty much gonna put the washer and dryer right back on so that we can actually use them, because it's been a little bit. Before I put the washer and dryer back, I wanna make sure that I clean out this dryer vent. That's where today's sponsor comes in, so thank you so much to BILT for sponsoring today's video. So BILT is actually a free app, and it gives 3D and voice instructions, and it just walks you through the process of building different things and doing things like cleaning out a dryer vent, which is great because I have never done that before. I'm not great with paper instructions. My ADHD is like, no ma'am, we can't pay attention to that. So this is super helpful. I've actually used it many times before. So let's go ahead and start learning how to clean out a dryer vent. BILT's instructions were extremely clear and easy to follow, and the 3D rendering of the entire process was super helpful to me because I am definitely a visual learner. This actually was so much easier than I thought it was going to be, and all I had to do was hook up my shop vac, and then I hooked up these little flexible rods to my drill, and there's a little cleaning brush on the end of that, and I am just adding rods as we go until we get all the way to the top. And this was really a lot more simple than I thought it was going to be, and that's because of BILT's easy to follow instructions. Like I said, it is totally free, so make sure that you use the link at the top of my description to download BILT for free today. Now, I debated what I want to do up here for a long time, and honestly, I'm still not sure. So what I'm going to do for right now is I am going to use this piece of trim to just go on top, and I think I might do sort of a picture ledge type of moment. And I put that up first, and then I needed to mix up my grout. I was having a little bit of trouble because I put some plastic on the floor and my bucket kept spinning, but you know what? We got it done, and I don't know about you guys, but I love mixing the grout because it looks very satisfying. Next up, I did tape off the walls just so I wouldn't get any excess on there, and it was time to start grouting these Zalige tiles, which, let me tell you, I knew it was gonna be kind of a chore, but since they are like handmade and uneven, there was a lot of grout sticking in there. And normally what you would do with grout, which is what I end up doing, but it's not necessarily how I would suggest going about grouting Zalish tiles, was I did the entire wall and then you wait 30 minutes and you go back and you wipe off the excess. Well, there's a lot more excess with tiles that are uneven, and naturally some are just sticking out a little bit more, so more grout definitely gets stuck in there. You can see though, it's really all coming together and looking like a finished piece, but there was a lot of excess grout. You can even kind of see it here. So it's doable, but if I could go back, I would probably only wait about 15 minutes and try to lightly wipe it off with a sponge then, or maybe even just like 5 minutes after, just to get like the big chunks of excess grout off, like very, very lightly, and then go back 30 minutes later to do your actual wipe down. But I was able to get the entire wall grouted. Behind these pipes was a little bit of a challenge, but I did end up putting on a glove and getting in behind the pipes with my hands because I could not fit my grout float behind there. This is where you can see I start to panic just a little bit. So after scrubbing and not getting super far for at least 15 minutes, I knew I was working with limited time to make sure I got these larger chunks of excess grout off. Now, I don't necessarily recommend what I was doing, and I'm sure that there's a better way to go about this, but I had to do what I had to do at the time. So I'm very lightly, and I want to emphasize very lightly, so I'm not scratching the tiles, going with a flathead screwdriver and just getting off that excess grout chunks while it's still, not cured. Because once it cures, you're gonna have to scrape very, very hard. Now, it did take some of the grout out of the grout lines, and I was able to go back and just fix that with a glove and my finger and push some grout in and then go over it with the sponge to make everything look seamless. And while I was doing all of that, Dustin was going over every single part with the sponge many times. He would go back even after me to make sure that everything was good to go. And then I did tape off the walls and everything, and I got this caulking that actually matches the grout color perfectly. I caulked against the walls and against my piece of trim that will eventually be turned into a picture ledge. And who knows, down the line, this will be easy to remove if I decide to put cabinetry or a floating shelf up here. Now, we are going to be swapping out these outlets for GFCIs. I haven't gotten to that quite yet, but it will be done before this project is over. But for the meantime, I really wanted to see what this wall was going to look like semi-finished and, not with the outlet covers just off and sticking out. So I used these small spacers that go behind your tile or go behind your outlet, and they make it flush with the tile. And then I just put these covers on for now. And this is definitely not my permanent solution for this. We are going to do something really, really cool if I can pull it off with this box and kind of hiding it. It's obviously a necessity because it's the water for the washer, and it needs to be there, but I don't necessarily want it showing. So this is my step one. We're just painting it. They had painted it blue before, not my favorite, and you can see the edge of the tile there is not looking too great. And then this flush mount vent that I put in the wall is really awesome. You're able to paint right over it. This is a super temporary solution because I'm actually going to be making something custom for this box, but I had some extra trim and some mounting tape, so I was like, let's make it look at least a little bit finished. I didn't miter the corners on these, and I did them straight because the box is a little bit wonky in the way that it's put in the wall, so it's a little off center. So this was just quick, easy. I put the mounting tape on, and we're going to stick it directly to the tiles. Just so that it looks finished for now, but don't worry, I promise this is not the final solution. It does make it look a heck of a lot better though. This room has come so far and I can't wait for you to see, so let's check out the before and afters.